Right, so the Tories won the election.
That indeed happened.
Yeah, luckily I have built us an ark.
You've built us an ark.
Yeah, we're just gonna go into space. Just, yeah, just.
I mean,
escape.
I'm on board with this. The stars are twinkly and pretty. I hear seeing the Earth from up above is quite an
We're
experience.
just building an ark for all the queer people and the disabled people and the people who can't. Basically, anyone who didn't vote Tory will be very negatively affected by it.
Wonderful. Are we bringing anything with us on this ark?
Well, let's see. I definitely want to bring some things we've played.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we pack some things that we can watch.
Yeah, things we've listened to, obviously.
Of
Gonna need
course,
that.
yeah.
Queer translators.
That
Check.
is one of the many groups of people who you could probably do with being on there.
Yep. Silly voices.
I mean, we'll probably have a higher standard of comedy up there if everyone's not just making, the low-hanging fruit jokes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Wow. It'll be the death of all that awful comedy.
We'll just leave it behind on Earth.
Ah, that'd be brilliant. Ah, well then, to the queer and pleasant strange arc.
Space!
Gotta go space.
Gotta go space.
Gotta go space. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that podcast where two queer trans ladies tell you about our weeks and have a catch up and do silly voices and skits. How you doing? Yeah.
I've plastered on a smile for this.
Yeah. I think you can tell from our opening skit where we're at this week. That tells you everything you need to know.
I stopped crying just long enough to record this.
Woo. But it's fine, because we've got media to distract us from all of the everything burning down around us.
Indeed. Yes.
So, shall we talk about some of that media that has helped be a valuable distraction
What
this
have
week?
you been playing?
The main thing I've been playing is more Pokemon. I've really not played a huge amount else this week. I'm still deep in my shiny hunting because that is the thing that I do at the moment. I've stopped doing the hunting in the overworld, looking for, Pokemon that, run around in the grass, because I got all the ones I needed from Route 1.
Oh,
and I was like, I've done this method for a while, I'm going to try some other methods.
Oh, heck.
So, I've been doing a bunch of egg hatching.
Yeah,
and I finally have my first couple of score bunnies. I need one
more.
I need one more to have its final evolution, and I will be good.
Mm-hmm.
I've almost finished my first full box of shiny Pokemon. I think I've got 29 individual Pokemon. So I've got that one little Mamoswine that's in my box one that I'm like, I just got to replace you. Yeah. And the other one I've been trying is hunting for shiny fossils, which there's only 4 fossil Pokemon in the game. What makes them easier and more difficult to get is that they act a bit differently to the rest of the Pokemon. You collect bits of fossils by running around the overworld, trading them for various resources. They're kind of hard to get. And whereas, hatching from eggs and trading and whatnot, hatching from eggs and catching in the overworld, you can make your odds quite a lot better by doing specific things. For these fossil ones that you get given, there is no way to change the base odds. It is 1 in 4,000, and you cannot do anything about it.
Yikes.
But, on the nice side, once you have a nice batch of, 30, 60, 100 fossils ready to redeem, you can save in front of the person, mash the A button 100 times, check if any of them were shiny, and then reset and start trading those 100 over again and see if they're shiny this time.
Was it SwSh that had the thing where they could also be, you can mix and match them?
Yes, this is that one. So there's 4 different pieces of fossil, and depending how you combine them, they can make 4 different fossil Pokemon. So I have enough fossils right now to make 2 of them pretty reliably. The other 2, I'll deal with them later. But currently, has my brain turned to mush from trying to hatch that last shiny Score Bunny egg and it's not working, while I will literally sit and just mash A with one hand while I do some video editing or something. So that's what I was doing today. I was video editing. I was like, Okay, well, while I look for the place I need to cut on this, I just have one hand just tap, 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 tap.
I saw you had your chunky controllers out today.
Yes, the Damon X Machina big Joy-Con things that are nice and comfy for playing in handheld mode, but also very specifically for these 4 fossil shiny Pokemon, and I'm not exclusively doing this, but I did some maths, and it would... the number of hours statistically it will take me to find all 4 of these shiny fossil Pokemon is terrifying. And so I may have here and there been using the turbo button on that controller to go, if I stand in front of this NPC and then turbo the A button, it will just press A for me a bunch, which might help, because otherwise these... I don't think I will ever get these 4 fossil Pokemon otherwise. So yeah, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Before we skip back to me, the sexy potatoes, my streaming community, were asking about those Damon X Machina.
Oh, yes.
Joy-Cons. Do you want to tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, have I? I can't remember if I've talked about them.
I think they've had a vague mention before, but
yeah,
let's have a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah, so the short version is this is a pair of Joy-Cons that can't be used detached. They're only for handheld play. Mm-hmm. That were released around September, and they were connected to this game, Damon X Machina. It's a not very great mech game. But these controllers are wider. They've got sort of better... you know how like most modern controllers have the sort of like wing design that sort of...
It kind of looks like someone sawed a Pro controller in half.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like a much sturdier fit onto the console. It's got like some programmable extra buttons on the back, so like if you find it easy to press buttons in different places, you can sort of assign what buttons do what. If you're someone that can't really do button mashing for games that might have QuickTime events, it's got a turbo button and things like that, but it's basically just a bigger controller on either side of your Switch. As I said, it doesn't work in handheld mode. You can't, sort of comfortably sit with one in each hand. But if you're someone that plays in handheld and finds just the sort of flat nature of it a little uncomfortable to hold for prolonged periods of time sometimes, it's a more comfortable grip option for sure.
It looks like a good controller for bigger hands.
Yeah, so it's nice if you're doing like lengthy play sessions and your hands are getting a bit cramped. Or for a case like this where I just want something to mash A few hundred times for me.
I mean, that's fair.
Like, oh no, my thumb is getting tired from mashing A all this time. I'm just going to leave it mashing A for itself for a minute. Don't judge me.
Machinations.
Machinations. So, no judging me for my tiny little concession of cheating that I've been using the turbo button a little bit.
No, automatically tapping one button.
I know, like, I've had some people,
If I were a centrist, I'd say that's no different to just hacking in shinies.
Oh, so, like, I was thinking about this recently. I was like, where is that line for me? Because I wouldn't just hack in a bunch of shinies. Because there's zero challenge in that, like, there's no working for it. I wouldn't care at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm like, where on the continuation is that line? And I think where the line is for me is there's a device that was released recently that you plug it in the bottom of your Switch and it will automate analog stick inputs as well as button presses. And it's
basically run around in circles? Or?
So what it's set up to do is if you go and put your Pokemon in the daycare so they'll start making eggs,
right,
and stand in front of the person that does the eggs, it will pick up an egg, run back and forth until there's a new egg generated, pick up the next egg, and just run back and forth, hatching eggs, collecting new eggs from the daycare lady, all on an automated...
That's an impressive
process.
Piece of tech.
Yeah, like, it's a really... Like, it's a well thought out automated set of processes, but equally I look at that and go, I feel like once you start, like, moving the character around for me, that's where it's like, you're playing the video game for me.
Yeah.
Whereas automating mashing the A button forever, I'm like, there is no thought, there is no paying attention, there is no... Like, if I was doing that myself 100% of the time...
You probably still wouldn't be paying any attention.
I'd be doing the exact same thing, which is don't pay attention, and about every 10 minutes have a look over and go, have I done all the fossils yet? No, it's still getting more fossils, that's fine, I'll look back in 10 minutes. I'll keep watching the telly.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing that I felt, and I didn't use any kind of turboing for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to get the Alolan forms of Pokemon in Shiny.
Mhm.
You had to do a similar just mash A at an NPC.
Just trading them.
Yeah,
Sandshrews.
just trading them Sandshrews until you got a shiny Sandshrew back. And, like, there were people on YouTube at that time who were, like, making, like, little Arduino devices that would press the button for them. Like, they're making, like, little Lego things that would, like, physically press the button over and over.
Heck.
And I'm like, I feel like repetitively pressing A for hours is one of the few exceptions where it's like, I will let a computer do this.
You can have that one, friend.
You can have that one, and if you don't think my Pokemon collection is legitimate after that,
I don't.
yeah, I don't care.
Mhm.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley.
Yeah, you have. You're
Yeah.
nearly through your second year, right?
Well, when I started this most recent playthrough, I was on something like 18 hours of play.
Yeah.
I'm now getting quite near to 100.
Yay! You found a game that you're doing 100 hours in. Woo.
Because farming in the peaceful life where I can make everybody happy by giving them wine.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can make everyone in this life happy if you give them wine, other than the people that don't drink.
Exactly. Yeah, basically it's just like, I have abundant fruit, I'm going to turn it into wine. Everyone in town seems to like wine, so I give you the gift of wine, friend.
Yeah, and you just get your happy little farm full of all the animals. And...
I've named them all after, like, Patreon supporters and
There's one that's named after me.
There's one that's named after you. There's a duck that's just called F the Tories. Because that's the mood I've been in this week. But yeah, I'm having fun. I've got piggies now. I've got a goat called Jane.
Yay!
I think if I had a persona, it's going to be a goat.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you like about goats?
They're stubborn, they'll eat anything.
I
feel
mean-
like I can relate to that.
Yeah.
They have fuzzy legs.
Yeah.
They have cool horns.
I'm now thinking, what would I be? What would I be?
Bun.
I think it's going to be a bun.
You're a bun.
I'm a bun.
Now imagine
Floppy ears.
tiny floppy blue bun sitting on the back of a goat.
Yeah, okay. Done. Personas confirmed.
There we go.
It's been really nice watching you play, and I'm glad that you've stuck with it longer this time, because you said previously you got, like, fall of the first year on your first attempt, something like that?
Yeah, fall of the first year on the first attempt, and then this time I'm heading into winter of the second year, so
Yeah.
about to get into year 3 at this
Oh,
rate.
goodness, yeah. Are you still finding that it's coming up with consistent new things for you to do?
Less so.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like this year I streamlined things a bit more. I had a bit of a panic on the first of spring of year 2 because I was just like, okay, I've thought about this. I'm gonna sort of lay things out like this. This will be kind of easy. Things were not kind of easy.
Yeah, everything basically reset, didn't it?
It reset in such a way that it made the first of spring really like stressful because I had set in my mind that I was gonna do all my planting and lay everything out because I'd already laid all the sprinklers out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do all my planting first day and it'll be all fine. And I got through less than half of it and nearly had a panic attack
Because
on stream.
there were rocks everywhere.
There were rocks everywhere and there were sticks everywhere and everything needed hoeing. And
It looked like Animal Crossing when you've not touched it for a couple of weeks. And it's like, oh no. Oh no, I have to tidy up my town now. Isabel's mad at me. I've not been around.
I now have all but one item for the community centre. I am only missing a pomegranate, and I have a pomegranate tree growing in my greenhouse.
I'm excited.
So soon I hope to have everything I need to complete that whole
whole big quest.
That whole big thing.
And we'll see what's next.
Well, yeah, because I've got some ancient seeds on the go. I've got some rare seeds on the go. So I've got like 3 of the star drop fruit now.
So I keep thinking about playing Stardew Valley, and I've got it on my Switch.
Multiplayer.
So I'm really tempted to do some multiplayer with you. But my big question is, for someone that's not played Stardew Valley, like, what's the thing you wish you'd known at the start that would make doing your farm go smoother?
Keep one of everything, because
Yeah.
you never know who's going to be like, I would really like one of these, and I will give you a lot more than it is normally worth. And you're like, fuck, I just sold all of those in spring, and
Yeah.
now it's summer, and I don't have any of those. So, like, keeping a couple of everything handy, and then, like,
And
as you
things
progress...
will last, will they?
Yeah.
They're not
That's
going to
the-
go bad.
Yeah, you can keep fish in a chest for years and years and years, and it won't ever be a problem.
That's good to know.
Yeah, don't open your geodes unless the TV says that you have good luck that day, because
Okay.
it will save you a lot of time in the long run. Yeah, I think those are probably the most important ones. Like, it's worth using the wiki to know what the best products are, like, value-wise, because obviously it's the amount of time you spend hoeing and sowing and,
Yeah.
and planting, and then how long they take, like, how many days, how much work did I have to put in to get however much money out.
Yeah.
Seed makers, something else I would definitely recommend.
Yeah.
Get seed makers, because year 2, you don't want to be paying for all your seeds again.
Yeah, that's fair.
It can be tempting to go, I need money right now. If you want to completely make the game very boring for yourself, you can just go and buy a Jojo Mart subscription and then just buy all the unlocks. But it will... I feel like not doing the community centre version takes
Yeah.
away a lot of the
charm.
the charm of it. Like, you're building a community together, you're
Yeah.
fixing this cub of the community up, especially since, like, the whole game opens with your character working a corporate job for Joja
Yeah.
and being like, oh, I'm just gonna go and live on a farm.
I mean, haven't we all had that urge occasionally?
More so this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Stardew. I will probably finish playing. I don't know. I might do a bit of the Skull Cavern. I've been there a couple of times,
Yeah.
but like, I'm not level 10 in combat yet. I think I think I might only be a level 9.
Yeah.
I've got 2 10s and 2 9s at the moment for the like skills. So, like, I'm near maxing everything out that you can.
Yeah.
And at that point, it would just be chasing money. So I would be interested to try other maps, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe some multiplayer.
I'm 100% up for some multiplayer Stardew weekends with you.
I'm up for some multiplayer Stardew. And the only other thing I would say is mods. I'd be interested to see what the mods are like.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have a look together soon.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really fun thing.
Yay. What about you? You got any others?
I think there's not much else. We played some more Magic the Gathering this
We
week.
did.
I used a deck that wasn't the green deck.
No, you used my red
I
deck.
used the red deck, where the whole thing is
Kill.
do direct damage nice and quick before the other deck has a chance to kill me.
That is pretty much it.
I didn't have a great win record, but I got a couple of wins in.
No, you struggled against my my black devotion control deck.
Yeah.
Which that was a deck I got the instructions for from online. So, like, I can understand that perhaps it might be, compared to something I just went, those cards are cheap, and do the sort of thing I want them to.
There was one of those rounds where I almost had you,
So close.
and I had my big dragon that's like 7 energy to get out, and when you get it out, not only is it a big beefy thing with flying that can like fly over all your creatures and do 5 damage to your health,
Yep.
but also does 7 damage when it's summoned and would have killed you by itself.
And then I did vicious rumours on you.
You
So
made me discard a card.
discard a card, lose one off the top of your library, and lose a life, and I gain a life.
And you did it at the only moment it would have made a difference, because earlier than that I had more than one card in my hand, so I could have discarded something else.
Yep.
Later, I'd have already played the dragon, and I'd have been fine.
Yep.
You did it on the one turn that it was the sole card in my hand.
And that is the only heavy hitter in that deck.
Yep, you took out my only heavy hitter, and I was like, yep, I'm done. I'm screwed.
Yes, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And then there was that that last black game, which I only just won.
Yeah, we had a really nice, like, back and forth aggro match where
I'll do you 1 damage. I'll do you 1 damage.
we
I'll
were
do you 1
always
damage.
within, like, 1 or 2 damage of each other.
Yeah.
And we were just trading back and forth, like, okay, who's, okay, can we catch up? Okay, I've got, like, a 1 point lead. Oh, you caught up. And
I've killed all your creatures, you've killed all my creatures, have 1 damage, you have 1 damage.
we were both so close that we were using up all the cards in our hand. we were both blind drawing. We had no hand, and we were like, "What do I draw this
I
turn?"
believe in the heart of the gods. The thing is, that deck has got like so many heavy hitters in it, and I just couldn't find any of them.
Worked well for me.
I needed my squelching leeches, and they just weren't there for me.
Oh,
Until the very last round, I was like, I have a 9/9 now.
I was like, okay.
I think we have victory.
Have you played anything else this week?
No, not really.
The only other thing I've played, let me just find the tab for it. And this is a game that now exists on itch.io that came out of a joke made on Podquisition 261. It's called Urban Fucking Champion. And it's based on an old NES game called Urban Champion that's not a not very good game that Nintendo insists on re-releasing forever. And Jim kept saying Urban Fucking Champion as a sort of exasperated term, and I was like, yeah, but what if Urban Fucking Champion? And someone followed through on that, and there is now a playable game in which me, Jim, and Conrad will appear from windows, like throwing things down, trying to stop the player. And police cars will go by, and don't get caught having sex out in public while the police are nearby.
And Jonathan Holmes.
Yeah, you basically just have consensual sex with a bunch of people and try not to get arrested.
I mean, ideally.
Yeah, ideally. It's a really fun and like surprisingly well put together little high school chaser. The detail that like I really liked on this is when you're pressing the fuck button, you don't want to mash it as fast as you can. That's not how you get most points. Yeah, you gotta slow it down. Have a sort of like
have some motion in your ocean.
Yeah, have some motion in your ocean. Also, the character is practicing safe sex. A condom is used every time they have sex.
I'm concerned about the fact they're being dropped on the floor, but yeah.
The itch page for the game does say there are certain things we would like to add in a future update, including clearing up your litter.
Yeah.
So they're aware of some of these things, but for a silly idea that came out of a joke made on a podcast, it's a surprisingly fun little stupid high score chaser.
Well done, that creator.
The creator, let me find their details quickly, is... Where does it say on an itch page who the creator is? Heptagon.
Heptagon Arts.
Yeah,
itch.io/urban-fucking-champion.
Indeed. There is a link on my Twitter as well. It is a fun little thing. And I was impressed that someone threw it together in a week.
Impressive.
Well
done.
I think that's everything I've played. What about yourself?
That's everything I've played too. Well
then. Time for this.
So I'm looking for the recipe here. I found one that's supposed to be great for cookies. It's got like just so many 5-star reviews, but every time I click on it and I've looked around the article, it's just pages and pages of someone talking about one particular autumn. Like, it's just going on about the family and the dog, the golden sunshine. Hang on. I think that the sunshine there might be a reference to golden syrup.
Yeah?
Yeah, and they mention a particular time of day. I reckon that's probably how much golden syrup we need to put in.
Oh, so it's a code we've got to crack.
Yeah, and I reckon this bit here where they're talking about how sweet their husband was, that might be a reference to just like caster sugar.
Yeah,
Okay, now, let's see, Wednesday, so that's the third day of the week, so what, 300 grams of caster sugar?
Sounds about right.
Okay, yep.
And that bit where she's talking about how she buttered up her husband.
Butter, yeah. I think we're gonna crack this.
Crack this, eggs!
Eggs, that's it! The whole thing is a solution, and then, the day's getting darker because it was autumn. That could be a reference to like dark chocolate sprinkles or chocolate chips.
Chunks. It's got to be chunks.
It's got to be chunks.
Yeah.
They're talking about the coming of winter, like dusting. I reckon that's probably flour.
Yeah, and then the bit where they're talking about the flowers outside again.
Flowers.
Yes.
I think we've cracked this code. We are going to have some fucking kick-ass cookies. Hi. If you're anything like me, someone who suffers from long-term clinical depression, sometimes you find that it's not just a matter of chemical imbalance. Sometimes everything is just really, really shit. And it's times like this when your antidepressants probably won't be quite enough. That's why I take Fuck It All. When the world is actually falling down around you and you need to stop screaming just long enough to get a podcast out and survive the day, try Fuck It All. Thanks, Fuck It All. You're all that's holding me together right now.
I'm just about functioning.
So, what have you put in your eyes?
We put a bunch of things in our eyes.
We did.
Try and distract
weird
ourselves
things.
from the outside world.
Yes.
We finished seasons 1 and 2, the original seasons of Twin Peaks and Fire Walk With Me, which is the movie that comes after. We'll get on to Twin Peaks The Return in a minute, but should we talk about Twin Peaks Season 1 and 2 and Fire Walk With Me?
Have we watched all of it since last week?
I'm pretty sure
I feel like we started watching some of it last weekend.
We started watching some of it, but
Okay.
we finished Season 2 and watched Fire Walk With Me and started on The Return.
Okay, yeah. So, Season 2?
Okay, Season 2 of Twin Peaks, the ending few episodes,
We're amazing.
they're amazing. The fucking Season 2 cliffhanger, I don't know how all of you survived with that being a cliffhanger and no resolution for 25 years. I think when we finished watching, you turned around to me and said, do you want to wait 25 years to find out how that resolves? I was like, fuck no.
And then we watched the extended cut of Fire
Yeah,
Walk With Me with all the bits from the missing pieces in.
Yeah, before we get to that quickly, I did not... Season 2 had a lot of the just drama around, like, not to do with any mysteries, just interpersonal drama.
Mhm.
And even Season 1, to a certain extent, less what I expected Twin Peaks to be. Like, the end of Season 2 was like, okay, this feels like what I went in expecting.
Yeah.
I'm not-
What other Lynch have you seen out of interest?
Oh, goodness. My brain's gone blank.
Eraserhead?
I've seen Eraserhead, yeah.
Inland Empire?
Yeah.
Blue Velvet?
No. But like,
Dune?
yeah, I've seen June. But like, having seen like Eraserhead, for example,
Yeah.
can you see why I wouldn't necessarily expect
Essentially a soap drama.
essentially a soap drama? Yeah, like I didn't expect that density of soap drama to mystery,
Mm.
and like. I love the town of Twin Peaks. I think it's a fantastic show in terms of like really bringing that like small community, that weird small community to life.
Mm. And despite the fact there
Yeah.
are just so many characters,
Yeah.
eventually you do sort of get used to them all.
Yeah, and then we time skip 25 years ahead, and I don't recognise any of the actors. But yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, no, that ending of season 2 was a thing.
Yeah.
Fire Walk With Me.
Was a lot.
Yeah,
Especially since we watched the 3.5 hour cut.
yeah, we did. Here's the thing: it answered some basic questions and gave some better context.
Yeah.
But it also opened up like so many more questions.
Yeah.
It didn't answer like the title "Fire Walk With Me," a thing from seasons 1 and 2. I was like, oh, are we finally going to work out what the significance of that is? No.
Kinda. The answer is in there.
Well, I couldn't work it out. What I have gleaned so far is a bunch of people keep saying "Fire Walk With Me," and I have no clue why. Maybe I will find out eventually, or work it out. I don't know. But then we got into Twin Peaks: The Return.
It's a lot, isn't it?
I did not expect it to be so little set in Twin Peaks. I did not expect them to veer so far away from the protagonist we know.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be such a difficult watch that tackled with, like, weirdly personal themes from my life that I find really hard to watch.
Yeah, and we should talk about that, because I think you brought it up on Twitter,
Yeah.
and I saw some of the responses to that. Like, but I agree with you, absolutely. As somebody who has had family members with Alzheimer's, and people with Alzheimer's in our lives,
Yeah.
it can be really difficult watching somebody you care about and have grown a certain attachment to struggling in that way.
Yeah, like, I conceptual spoilers here, we won't go into too many specifics, but Dale Cooper, the protagonist of Twin Peaks, in The Return, it's unclear, we're only like halfway through the season, it's unclear to me currently exactly what has caused it, but at some point in returning to the story, he has lost some core parts of himself. He is struggling to communicate, he is struggling to sort of process what's going on around him at times.
He seems to have, like, minor, like, moments of clarity when he sees things he recognises.
He's clearly, there's bits of him there, there's things he recognises, like, case files and agents, and he knows he likes coffee, and it's clearly still him. But he's struggling with basic tasks like going to the bathroom, getting dressed by himself, getting through his day job, and as someone, as you said, someone who has lived with family members who have had deteriorative mental health conditions, and as someone that worries about my own health and that happening to me someday, and that's a terrifying thought, I'm not saying it's bad storytelling, far from it, but it's
uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. Going like, there's this calm, put together, sweet, creative character, like all of these wonderful positive adjectives you'd have for Dale Cooper in seasons 1 and 2 that are not really ways you could describe him in The Return as we've seen him, or they're not things that we see externally.
He,
so much.
like the show, is okay. From my point of view, as somebody who's seen it, I would argue that he is almost like a metaphor for the show itself. He is a husk of what people thought they wanted.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm sure these big overarching views of the thing I will get around to, and then probably next week or the week after. Right now, watching it as a moment-to-moment thing, it is mainly just hitting on those. It's really tough to watch someone that you felt like you had a real handle on who they were suddenly be someone else and just hurt for them, being like, I just want you to be okay, and I can't fix this for you, and I feel really bad. Oh, I'm doing a well up now. It's been hard watching. It's been great, but it's been hard watching.
And I can understand why people were really upset about the show when it came back, because everyone had been super hyped for it for like years. It had been rumbling around like Twin Peaks season 3 was going to happen, and The Return pops out, and it's not what anyone would have gone. Yes, that's what I want. Well, because what people wanted was 25 years ago, what happens next at the end of like season 2, episode 22,
or even just it just feels like a different show in that it's like it's not focused on the place that is the title. Its pacing is very different. The kind of, I don't know, the lack of familiarity is jarring, and I can understand how a 25-year wait would make it more so. I don't want any of this critique to sound like I'm not enjoying it. I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic, but you have to let yourself go, this is going to be jarringly different, and I just have to go with that.
And you will... You may get answers later on.
Yeah, I feel like it is going somewhere, but honestly, The Return is maybe the most I've enjoyed Twin Peaks so far. I think it's felt like it had the most consistent idea of what story it wanted to be telling. It's done the least ambling off in weird side directions that go nowhere.
Yeah, it feels like it has its story to tell, and it is absolutely going to tell you that whether you want to hear it or not.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, and it feels a lot more what I expected out of David Lynch.
It also, I think, feels a lot less made by Community, because I think, obviously, like, he wasn't writing all of the episodes.
Yeah.
There were people coming and going involved in that, and obviously different directors some weeks, so it would have been shot differently, so it's nice to just go, this.
Honestly, that's what I was expecting out of Twin Peaks, and that's what I've been really happy to see out of The Return. Is okay, this feels like a David Lynch thing, and I've been enjoying it all the more for that. Episode 8, huh? Twin Peaks: The Return, Episode 8, huh? That is the most David Lynch a David Lynch could David Lynch. How much Lynch could a David Lynch for David could Lynch?
Indeed.
I'll take that back. The penultimate Lynch there sounded like Lynch in a other context.
Yes.
But
I know what you meant.
you know where I'm going for. It's the most...
The person.
It's David Lynch Inception.
Yeah.
It's...
We heard you like Lynch, so we put some Lynch in your Lynch.
Yeah. So, I will say this about Episode 8 of Twin Peaks: The Return. There was a point about 50... not even that. Probably about 3 or 4 minutes in where I turned to you and went, we're going to have an hour of this, aren't we?
It was a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
It was after the shooting, which I think is like 5-10 minutes
Okay.
in.
Well, what I mean is about 3 or 4 minutes after the thing happened.
The thing started happening, and then it kept happening, and you went from sort of sitting forward in your seat, just like, these are some things I'm seeing. Oh, that looks like that thing from that previous episode. Huh. And then you just turned to me and went, we're going to have about an hour of this. And he was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a journey. Like, I am excited to finish Twin Peaks and then discuss many thoughts. And then maybe get around to watching a 4.5-hour documentary. And I have a lot to process from this show.
Yes, you do.
Thank you for going on this journey with me.
Thank you for coming.
Uh,
I'm just glad that even after sort of going, I kind of understand what it's about now, I've been able to watch through it again and go, I'm still enjoying this.
yeah.
I have moments of just like, oh my god. Or like line repeated from series and series ago, just going, oh, that's got some more weight to it
I don't
now.
know when we're going to have the time, but I am up for giving this another watch through.
Oh.
What about you? What have you been watching?
I watched Loading Ready Run doing a promotional video of the Taz Balance game, the Adventure Zone Balance game.
Oh, yeah.
It's only like a beta copy,
Yeah.
but they played like 1 2-hour game and another sort of just over 3 hour, just over 1 hour game.
Okay.
It looks quite interesting.
I have backed a copy for us. I know very little about it. It seems to be a card game, but the cards basically facilitate collaborative storytelling.
Yeah. So I mean, it helps that they are already people who
Yeah.
do comedy stuff.
Yes.
So I think that probably helped, where it's like they were coming up with their characters. Okay, this is the archetype of character I've picked from
Yeah.
the set, but like I'm going to draw it myself and
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a ridiculous name, and everyone's going to like address that.
Is my understanding of it correct that like the way I have understood it is basically a card deck, a set of cards that basically acts as a DM so that you can do
Sort of.
D&D-ish, like, here's an objective, here's a situation.
Yeah, so
that-
it will give you
yeah.
the basics of that. Like, like the in Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah.
Just like all those tables you can roll on if you want to make it a mission or a campaign.
Yeah.
But it will have things like, okay, this is our like overarching mission. This is things that are affecting the things we're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working through the deck, and we are trying to get some staff, and they might just name that ridiculously between you, and
Yeah.
the leader will keep a note of that,
Yeah.
and you'll try and keep all those things. Okay, now we have to defeat this, and you might tell a story about that thing. Okay, but I've got Killian or Angus
Yeah.
that I can throw in as like
Your
like,
Adventure Zone characters to come fix the situation.
that will help you with certain types of roles. You can like when you get is it 3? It's like 3 treasures or 3 gold. You can go to the Fantasy Costco
Yes.
and just like pick a
Which-
thing off the Fantasy Costco deck, and it'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, well I can like maybe turn roll a d20 into a flip a coin.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And or I could I think the raging flaming poisoning sort of doom is in there.
Oh.
I can't remember exactly what it
Yeah.
does, but it did come up in both games. They were talking about the fact that the decks, the cards are double-sided.
Oh, that's always nice.
So, like, you can play all the way through it one side, and then just like, okay, we're going to rack up to play another campaign, we're just going to flip the whole thing over.
Yeah.
And just start again. I don't... Like, obviously these are all, like, beta cards. This is all still, like, testing and working things out. But they look like they had a great time.
Yeah. It honestly seems like the kind of thing that I would love to be able to whip out, where it's like, if we manage to get a group of people together, it's like, wouldn't it be really fun to do a quick D&D type thing, a quick role-playing adventure, but we don't have a campaign rolled up, or we don't have the full group of people that we would want for our regular big group adventure.
Because getting people together for a fucking D&D session is
But you're like, the three of us have this deck that could take us on an adventure, we could just work it out now.
And I think that's the other thing, I think it would be much more fun if everyone is cooperatively telling together and no one is expected necessarily to really DM it.
Yeah.
Somebody that will sort of push things forward and make notes. But that's it.
Someone keeping track of it and being like, okay, I'll keep an eye on what we're doing, but you're still a player.
Yeah.
It's not everyone against one of the people.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad that it sounds like it's exactly what I thought it was from what I'd read, and I'm excited to give that a go next summer.
It was fun hearing about someone with 2 meat shields going and meeting like a lich, and then there was like a whole fight where they had the meat shields got seared nicely, and somebody made a typhoon of steak spice. I mean, like, a lot of that is probably them just being funny people, having a laugh together, but, like, that's the other thing. Like, if you got the nerds around, you all have that way of talking to each other, like, those shared in-jokes that you could just bring into this world.
Well, that's it. Like, as someone that has done, with that group of nerds, I have quite often run little tabletop, like, one-page RPGs. And when we ran, for example, a game of Honey Heist, that's sort of how these things go. It's like, okay, the base idea is some bears trying to steal some honey, but you layer in as you go the things that, like, you and your friends, have as a shared language of, if me and you were playing this, there might be some references to an informer in there, perhaps. Said enemies know me, I go blame.
I think you boom boom now.
Exactly. Yeah, this sounds like exactly the kind of thing I need on hand for, like, we want to do some tabletop role playing, but no one has prepped a campaign, or we don't have the group we would need for our one we have planned.
Exactly, and I think, I mean, I don't know if you can play this in 2-player, but like the idea that you could play 2 or 3 and everybody have like a satisfying, crunchy D&D session that lasts like 60 to 90 minutes. Possibly up to 2 hours, depending on how slow you're going through it.
That pace is like really good for one of the use cases I do D&D, which is going to conventions and have we got something to do tonight? Let's pop out the thing and do a 2-hour campaign.
Yeah, because you still have time to get really drunk later.
Exactly. Everyone can get drunk and play Mario Party afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you? You watched anything else?
Let me pull up the list, because I'm sure there are things I've watched. We watched some films together this week.
2 films together.
Yes.
Apart from Firewalk With Me.
Yes, apart from that. So, by the time you hear this, the new Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker will be out.
The one.
We are recording this on Tuesday. So we have not seen it. We're going to a midnight screening. But in preparation, we watched the first 2 films in the sequel trilogy.
7 and 8.
We watched 7 and 8. We watched The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yep. I've really enjoyed rewatching both of those back to back. I think they really hold up as enjoyable films.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'd forgotten was quite how funny both of them are.
I hadn't forgotten that, because I remember commenting, like, I think for both of them actually, just going, I had not expected to laugh so much.
Yeah, episode 8 for example, that opening section where Poe is doing the whole fake radio call with Hux.
Yes.
Just
trolling her.
Just trolling him. I'm just like, I like that these Star Wars films didn't take themselves too overly seriously and were willing to have a bit of fun. Like, I like that whole opening of episode 8 where the lightsaber's handed over to Luke, and it's been years of waiting for this film to come out. He just fucking yeets it off the side of the island. I'm like, they're good, fun films.
Yeah, and I don't care what anyone says. I like the Porgs.
The Porgs are great, and for anyone who's listening who doesn't know the story of why the Porgs exist, that island, that island off the coast of Ireland, where they filmed the scenes with Luke, covered in puffins.
Puffins everywhere.
And they're not allowed to scare the puffins away. And the puffins fucking love people. They were like, "Oh, can we be in the film? Oh, we love you." So they just pasted porgs over every puffin to be like, "Nope, there's porgs now. There's space puffins."
Space puffins. Tiny space puffins.
So
Chewie, stop eating the space puffins.
Every time you see porgs, just think about the fact that there was a puffin that went, "I want to be in Star Wars."
And the fact that puffins are adorable.
Yeah. And that fight scene toward the end of 8 is so good.
I also really like hearing people put random music over the top of it.
Oh my god, yeah. But like, I've really loved this series of films so far, and we'll see how we feel after 9. But I really loved 7 and 8. These are all thoughts like having not seen 9. Who knows? I really hope that they don't backtrack on that whole Rey's sort of no one.
Yeah.
I like that, and I worry they're going to backtrack it. Like, I have a sneaking feeling she's going to be someone important. I'm like, no. Like, because she's such a nice antithesis to Kylo, whose whole thing is, I have a lineage, I'm important, I should have everything because I'm from a lineage. And it's nice to just go, no, you're someone who's just a good person and wants to do a good thing.
And, you know, people can be strong with the Force.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a fucking Skywalker.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we in hindsight know that, like, okay, Luke's lineage is what it was, but, like, watching episode 4 originally, no one looked at Luke and went, oh, who's his magic dad? Who's his magic dad? Why has he got magic? He needs to have a magic dad.
Magic dad?
No one was complaining he needed a magic dad, and I don't think Rey needs a magic dad.
No magic dads, or magic mums, or magic non-binary parents.
Indeed.
Or agender parents.
They flew by as well. Like, their pacing is really good.
And they're not short.
Yeah, I know, right? I really like Poe's arc in 8. His whole, having to learn to be less of an impulsive
dick,
yeah. Oh, look at me, I know better than everyone else. Oops, fuck, I apparently don't. You got any other thoughts on that?
No, I think that covers it. I'm excited for 9.
Yeah, maybe...
No matter how exhausted I might be on Thursday.
Yeah. Maybe next week at the end of the show we do like a little spoiler cast at the end or something, perhaps?
Or we can stick it after the credits or something.
Yeah, stick it after the credits or something. So we'll talk about it next week, like, away from the rest of the episode. What about you? What else have you watched this week?
That's pretty much been it, really. I mean, we watched a lot of Twin Peaks.
We did. I don't think I watched any. I think that's it.
Well then.
So for this.
Yeah. Laura, got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you like music?
I do like music.
Do you like music with a real lefty slant to it?
I very much do, but I feel like it's going to be difficult to play this time of year. I've got family around, and, you know, they're not so much of the lefty persuasion.
So, you think perhaps if you had something that sounded like festive music, you could put that on, and as long as they weren't really listening to the lyrics, you could get away with listening to something called, now that's what I call plausibly like Christmas?
That sounds fantastic. I reckon a glass or two of wine deep, this is going to be great.
Yeah, a sherry for Grandma, and I'm sure she'll just getting along to an album of songs that have left-wing political messages sung to the tune of Christmas classics.
Exactly. You'll see Mum turn around and go, "Oh, I love this one. This that's Jingle Bells, right?" And you're like, "Oh no, that's about abolishing the state." Ooh.
Yeah, and that one that sounds like famous Mariah Carey track that everyone seems to like is actually about the importance of abortion rights.
Exactly.
So I reckon just to get them drunk enough, they won't notice, and meanwhile you're just headbanging away to some really good lefty punk.
Exactly, and while they're all there going, talking about whatever they're talking about, you can have your own little quiet victory and go, you don't know you're listening to lefty music.
And who knows, perhaps some of that will seep into their brains and they'll become more
subliminal lefty politics in your Christmas tunes.
Yeah, I was rocking it up to Slade, and now I want to sort of support disability rights.
Exactly.
Nice. So head on over to now that's what I call plausibly like Christmas.lol.net. It's a really long...
It's a long web address.
/promotions/Q and PS 97.
97?
Even if we take some time off over UDP, I think we're probably going to hit 100 very soon.
Yeah, like early New Year.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well,
100. We're nearly 100. We're nearly 100.
Oh,
dear.
goodness. Will the Queen be sending our podcast a letter, or will we have abolished her by then?
I can only hope. Inside the boardroom of Electronic Actor Softworks.
Hi.
Yeah.
How's things?
Well, we had the game adverts last week. A lot of people tuned in for that.
We sprinkled some awards in so that, it didn't just feel like an ad block.
Well, it was an excuse for people to take some of our shittier games and them to just take some money from us to award, our ridiculous bullshit.
Yeah. So you saw we announced that console deal we got coming during the show. We got that
sexy one, yeah.
Yeah, the sexy one, and I've been thinking.
Yeah.
So you know how all of our consoles basically have the same name at this point.
Yeah.
You know, we have the same start and like the same letter at the end, and we've made it to the point that like it's tough to know which one is which.
Yeah.
I think I've got an idea. I think we capitalize on this.
Right.
I think we release the same console over and over. No changes. But like, we keep doing, you know what we did at the game adverts, where we had that trailer where we're like, here's the box, here's the controller, here's when it's coming. We just put one of those out. And, I feel like players will probably look at that and go, wait, I already thought I had a sex box too. But I guess not. It's being announced now.
Indeed, yeah. And we won't even ever call it a Sex Box 2. It'll be
the Sex Box Z.
The Sex Box Pro, the Sex Box X, the Sex Box 1.
The Sex Box Elite.
The Sex Box Shiny.
Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. We don't even change the name. We just do a new shiny trailer for it again and go...
Yeah.
But, players will forget they already own one. The naming's so confusing at this point, I think we can just resell them.
Well, the other thing is, we could have that whole, we got the primary gifting period. We'll have older relatives trying to consider buying things for perhaps a younger relative. And they'll be like, hey, I got you the console you wanted, but what we've actually sold them is a 3-year-old version of the same equipment.
Well, that's it. We sell them the old one, but because the names are so similar, they'll, they won't know. But we're not going to sell it for any cheaper, obviously. We sell the old one for the same price as the new one to make it more confusing.
And it's not going to be...
If anything, we sell the old one for more than the new one.
Yeah, well, how about we put like a time and date thing on there, so actually you can't play anything from the previous generation.
Yeah.
Wow, I think this has been a very productive meeting. So, shall we go flog an intern?
I mean... What else are we gonna do? Think up good names for consoles.
So, what have you put in your ears?
My ears? Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, I've listened to a lot of anti-Tory punk.
You shock me.
It's been one of those kind of weeks. So I went back and listened to those two sort of like 80s tracks that you mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Fuck the Tories and fuck anyone who voted Tory.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got some new tracks to add to that list of tracks. I've not made my usual detailed notes. I'm going to try my best to describe these from memory. There is a track called Farewell to Welfare by an artist called Grace Petrie, who I definitely want to check out more of their stuff. Basically, acoustic guitar, angry music about the slow dismantling of the NHS disability support, basically the welfare system in the UK, and on top of that, tacking on as far as I could tell from doing a bit of research, I know that they're gay, and I believe that they use she/her pronouns. I will correct myself next week if that is incorrect, but that was best I could find. Talk about things. It's from a few years ago, and it specifically talks about things like the Tories' track record on voting for gay marriage, for example, and basically like, hey, fuck you if you voted for the party that is killing people by making them starve to death and taking away, like, money from the most vulnerable people, but also fuck you if you voted for a party that consistently says I shouldn't have the right to marry the person I want to marry, or to adopt kids. That's one that gets mentioned in there, is like, hey, fuck you for saying I can't raise a kid, that I shouldn't be allowed to raise a kid with my partner, for example. I don't need to forgive you if you voted to give that more power.
Indeed.
I'm like, yeah, no, it's a really beautiful track. It gets like very emotionally raw towards the end. Understandably. I'm gonna have to click on this one because the preview won't tell me what track it is, so I'm gonna need a second. It is yes. The next track is called Cull the Tories.
Yay.
By a femme British punk band called the Menstrual Cramps.
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, I've seen them about here and there. Their tracks include things like Frack Off, which is an anti-fracking track, for example.
Quite right too.
They're very like raw and angry. That as we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, that sort of punk where it's like, it doesn't matter if you're playing it precisely as long as you're playing it angrily. And I had a look, like, they're playing gigs around the UK as we speak at the moment, so I'm like, I might have to go and see them. They seem worth supporting. Cull the Tories is, as it sounds, a track about how maybe we should get some guillotines out and have a fewer people killing off all the poor people. And I'm like,
I mean, I think 16th century France had it right in that respect.
Yeah, they only have 443 YouTube subscribers. Go subscribe to them on YouTube. Cull the Tories has like 1,000 views on it.
Wowza.
Yeah, so
I have a feeling that there's going to be more of that soon.
yeah, go check that out. Okay, there is another track that's definitely less aggressive in its rock tone, but it's a much gentler rock track. It's called Never Trust a Tory by Onsind, Onsind, and it's basically about someone going and as a child going and staying with one of their grandparents, and their grandparent basically explaining to them why they should never trust a Tory, and the sort of basically leaning into a lot of the blatant lies that they use to try and grab power, and just going, no, I'll say anything to your face to, spite your back later. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, we were already hearing about broken promises the day after the election.
Oh, of course. Yeah. How many hours after the initial Brexit referendum did we hear? Oh, that Brexit. Oh, we didn't mean the Brexit bus. The NHS money. Oh, we didn't say that. Before the vote.
We didn't mean human rights. We didn't mean the NHS. We didn't mean workers' rights.
Yeah. So there's another one I wanna mention that's called Mother by a band called Idols, and it's basically about like poor living conditions under the Tory party. Things like, my mother works 15 hours a day, 5 days a week, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, sort of pushing people to work more and more and more to stay afloat. Ideas like, the best way to scare a Tory is to read.
Probably.
Yeah.
Unless you're reading The Sun, in which case they're probably very happy.
And then the sort of, like, lyrically talks about some themes of things like, trying to distract yourself in the bleak times that come after something like a Tory election. Trying to distract yourself by sitting and looking at pretty colours, because can't really focus on anything else right now.
True.
From this, it's quite angry, but with like a little bit of a dancey music side under it. But it's very like punk vocal layer from this wonderfully charismatic angry beardy man in a pink suit and no shirt underneath. This very angry person that I've kind of fallen in love with. I like the more Idols videos I've watched this week, the more I've gone, you've just got a really charismatic energy to you, friend. Like, lots of flamboyance and playing with gender presentation in the videos. I would recommend checking them out. That's it for the Tory stuff. What about you? What have you been listening to this week?
I've only been able to listen to reruns of old Mabimbams.
Yeah.
Because anything more than that has been a bit much socially. So I've been listening to the good boys talking about Yahoo Answers and Blue Apron and all the other good bullshit they spew.
Yeah.
In sort of nice, safe, manageable, comfortable worlds of not looking at the news.
I'm gonna be there soon. I've had to get the anger out so that I can get to the distracty point with the music. It's fine. My Chemical Romance thing will happen this week. I'll have that to get me through.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. This is all Mabimmity Bam.
Just Mabimbam, because I can't manage anything else right now.
Yeah.
I'm very fragile.
That's fair. I've got a couple of other things, if I can
Go.
check a couple of other bits of music. I found a nice new chill lo-fi music to study to stream. It's Study with Connie, chill tunes, on the Cartoon Network YouTube channel. And it's just Connie.
The glow stick?
Pardon?
The glow stick bracelet?
Yeah, it's the glow stick bracelet. It is Connie from Steven Universe in one of those, like, the sun is setting, doing some writing video, and just some nice chill music.
Lo-fi.
Yeah, it's always nice to have another one of those to jump into.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a wonderful mashup I heard this week that I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's Mariah Manson, All I Want for Christmas is the Beautiful People. And
I think we know where that goes.
yep, it is the tune of All I Want for Christmas Is You, with the lyrical line of All is The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson. It's really impressively mashed up. And for someone like me that like has a nostalgic attachment to the sound of Christmas music, but doesn't always like the lyrical context of it and has like weird associations with it, I'm like, okay, give me that thing that I'm nostalgic for, but with like a lyrical line where I'm like, okay, I can jam to this. And I enjoyed that. It was good, silly fun.
Nice.
Anything else?
That's it.
Well then, time for this.
The winter time. It's colder, darker, and more treacherous underfoot. But nonetheless, these brave soldiers heading out into the bad weather. The postal workers are quite astonishing in their habits. The way they pace around the streets, carrying their heavy loads, making sure to waddle along carefully, distributing all manner of good things to the local residents. Each is incredibly sure-footed, their bright red outfits sure to catch eyes, and perhaps even elicit a cheerful nod. Picture the scene. It's a beautiful holiday meal, the family gathered together, everyone opening presents, pulling crackers, sharing a meal, and the joy of each other's company. But oh no, Uncle Bob's here, massive racist extraordinaire, and while some members of your family say we have to invite him because he's part of the family, how about decoy dinner?
What's decoy dinner?
Just inflate decoy dinner in your back garden, or perhaps in a park or over an active volcano. Invite your racist relative over and leave them alone in a box, unable to bother anyone, with only some cardboard approximations of food, while the rest of you can get on enjoying a wonderful time together. Your horribly racist uncle can just spout bollocks in his own little plastic cavern, and then when you're done, you can just wrap it up and toss it in the volcano. Thanks, Decoy Dinner!
Yay!
You've saved the holidays! Question time, time for questions.
That's the question.
Lucy asks, if you were a Pokemon, what and why?
Mimikyu is the one I always go to, because he just won't be loved. I'll try my best. Please say that's enough.
That's more than enough for me. I think mine would either be Jigglypuff, because Jigglypuff is my favourite, but also Bulba, because Bulba is the best shiny boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was a Bulbasaur, I would probably go around and just vine whip fracking people. The planet's had enough of you.
Actually, you know what one I should be, because it's the one that the world needs right now? It's the Sword and Shield version of Weezing, with the top hats. And I say this because the world needs those, because they don't produce toxins. Contrary to their appearance, the whole deal of them apparently is that they're living air purifiers.
Ooh.
They completely dismantle all of the.
I mean, we could stop spewing shit into the environment.
We could,
as well.
but I, as an individual, cannot prevent giant corporate level emissions. The least I can do is fly around as a Galarian Weezing and just try and puff the air a bit cleaner.
That's a good one. Yeah. Kingping would like to know how to remember so many passwords in our digital world while remaining good security level, i.e., not using the same password for everything. Just remember.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Any kind of strategy we give would essentially probably give some insight into our password selection.
Not just that,
processes.
but, like, you do really just need to remember that the only thing I would say is the forgot my password is there for a reason.
Yeah.
Because you guarantee you'll go to a website and go, I'm pretty sure I know the website. There's, oh no, at some point they had their data compromised and I changed it to something else.
Yes. Yeah. So, there are,
I'm told there are apps, but I can't vouch for any of them.
I'm aware they exist. I would be paranoid to put all my passwords in one place digitally. That seems like a really weird, silly idea.
Again, yeah.
Because, like, if they get data breached, you're fucked.
There's everything fucked.
Yeah, my method is have about 15 different things on the go that are all variations on each other in different ways, where you vary them in different ways in different parts, and they all fit one of, like, 8 different structures of a password, and then just randomly guess when you've got to log into something. Like, I know it's probably this. No, okay, we'll try this. Okay, I got it on number 6.
Yeah.
Have a collection.
No, I am not a robot.
Have a collection of themes that your password will probably be along, and then variations upon themes, and then just remember the best you can.
Yeah. Ultimately, the answer is remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is, like, it's not as bad as it used to be when we had to remember phone numbers.
Yeah.
I used to be able to remember tons of people's phone numbers.
And also, you know what advice I've heard repeatedly from security people when it comes to digital passwords?
Notebook.
If you can't remember them, write them down on a physical notebook in your home. No one is breaking into your home and stealing a piece of paper and having your passwords that way. That's just not how password theft tends to happen. If you want to have secure passwords and you're paranoid you'll forget them, stick them on a piece of paper hidden somewhere.
And if you're still really paranoid, you could always work out some kind of encryption method from there.
Yeah,
because at that point, it's not like someone's going to cyber hack you, so you could probably use much simpler encryption.
Exactly. I think that is some good thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Hayley Snaily, happy hatching day.
Hi.
Your robot name is your email address for Amazon and your password for Amazon. What is your robot name? Nice one. Nice one, birthday friend.
My robot name is test@test.com. and fake password.
.lol.net.
.lol.net. You got to spell out the words dot each time.
Yeah, absolutely. What is an animal you think has an undeserved reputation as not cute? And what is an animal that you think has an undeserved reputation as cute?
Pigs. I think pigs are cute, and everyone always sort of puts them as like, oh, gross, disgusting pigs. Like, they're cute, and they're smart, and they're sweet.
I think spiders are quite cute as well. I know that there's a lot more resistance to that particular one.
I'm not with you on that one.
Bearded dragons are really cute.
I think they're really cute too.
I don't know if they have a reputation for not being so, but I think they're really cute.
I think snails are really cute.
Aww, slime bunnies.
Yeah.
Slime bunnies are adorable.
Yeah.
What about one that people say is cute, but no, thank you.
Dogs.
Yeah.
People say dogs are cute.
Terrified of dogs.
I'm terrified of dogs. No, thank you.
Don't get me wrong, like, sometimes I will look at a picture of a puppy that is far, far away and go,
yes,
that is a cute
That is
picture.
a cute puppy.
But I don't want to see one in person.
Yes.
I've been bitten by dogs.
I've told my stories before.
You have?
I don't like dogs.
Also, are hedgehogs the most capitalist animal, since they refuse to share their hedges despite there being room for many hedgehogs in a single hedge?
I mean, I think the name is more about the fact that hedges hog them from other animals. Hedgehogs hog the hedges from other animals, not from each other. I think they fit as many hedgehogs in as they can, and then go, no squirrels.
No squirrels, this is our hedge. You have the trees, friend.
Yeah, you are squirrel hogs.
Tree hogs.
Tree hogs.
On we go on the same, we'd like to ask, when was Unicorn Dance Party first celebrated?
When did we... Did it get called UDP before we did it?
I think I was celebrating it at least the year before that, because before that I just called it Winter Festival.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably about 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, I think there was that one at your old flat.
Yes.
Where we did it.
Where we actually dressed as unicorns.
We dressed as unicorns and we had all the lights and things on.
Mm.
Yeah, that must have been about 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Gosh. Was it really 4 years?
3 years.
3 years?
Closer to 3 years.
Yeah, maybe 3 years.
3 years, I reckon.
Yeah.
Becky Toohill. Hi, Becca.
Hi.
Is there anything you know should annoy you, or that provokes a negative reaction, but you kind of like it?
As a trans woman, I will occasionally have that moment when, like, some arsehole catcalls me from, like, a moving car.
Like,
and
at least you've gendered me correctly.
That's it. It's the... You shouldn't do that, and that's a sexist, gross thing, and, like, I'm not happy that happened. But, not only did you gender me correctly, but you apparently thought I was attractive enough in my correctly gendered form to be worth catcalling. It's a weird double standard that exists because please validate my gender.
I can't say I've ever been catcalled, but there was a period of about 9 months when I first started vocal training, when if anyone said to me on the phone, started calling me sort of sweetie or darling on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
There was a moment of like, I'm doing well at this.
Well, that's the thing. It's
but almost
thing that
like,
is, yeah.
Shortly after that, it was very much a case of like, don't call me
It's-
fucking sweet,
yeah.
I'll break your fucking legs.
It's the thing where it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, that was terrible, don't do that. Feel shitty that you did it. But in the moment, there's that little bit of me that goes, but
Validation.
But validation.
It was validated by the
It was
shouty
bad,
asshole.
shitty validation, but it was validation.
I can't really think of any.
No, the trans one's like the key one.
Yeah, and even those didn't last very long for
No.
me. Bethany Turner asks, do you hear the people sing? I wish. I'd be very up for hearing the people singing a bit.
Indeed, I wish to hear the people singing the songs of angry men.
Yeah.
And women and non-binary people.
Yeah. That. Tricky asks, a musical genre that doesn't exist yet, but absolutely needs to. Jazz step?
Yeah?
So using, like, using brass to, like, do wubs.
Oh. Yeah.
Like melodic, like melodic dubstep rather than sort of like very minimalists. It's all about the wubs.
Yeah. I would like to see, and it probably exists, but it's not as big a thing as I would like it to be. Like, you're sort of like, most of your dance music genres done on acoustic instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Just more like the exact same intensity and sort of like trying to replicate those sounds but on analog instruments.
Yeah, like there's those two guys with guitars who do a whole comedy set of just like dance music done on
Yeah.
acoustic guitars.
It's a thing that like people have done it. I don't think it's a genre that exists necessarily.
Not properly, no.
It's I would like to see that like have some space as a genre.
I would like to see more video game music mixed with like hardstyle. Sort of anything with that retro Sid music style bouncy doompy 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 doo, because it goes really well with hardstyle, which is basically just angry pirate music. Deluxe edition good soft Freb. I can't reread the rest of that, you've been cut off. Apologies. What is a good memory? I had a very nice hug when I got in.
Oh, that was a very good hug.
That was a good hug.
You gave me a forehead kiss earlier. That was good.
Good forehead kiss. We had a nice three-way hug with Becky.
Yeah.
She stands about boob height on both of us, so I imagine that was extra fun for her.
Doing big cuddles with new tiny soft that
Tiny soft
existed, and doing big. Oh, you were a tiny person that has just come to exist. I'll hold you so close.
Those really good hugs we have at raves.
Yeah.
You know the ones. Wink.
Thank you for being my rainbows
Thank
hugs.
you for being my rainbow. Drop, hi Drop. What is your game of the year?
I have a few contenders, and I'm struggling to pick a single one. Do you have like one that is your game of the year?
Let me find my short list.
Yeah. Let me pull my list up as well. Okay, so I have like a couple I want to give like runner-up special mentions to. I really enjoyed Astral Chain, Devil May Cry 5, and Disco Elysium from like mechanical standpoints. They were all really well-made games in their respective genres. The first two, fantastic over-the-top character action games, some of the best character action that I've seen in years. Disco Elysium, really impressive use of like actual role-playing and building out a character in an RPG. But the one that I'm going to put at the top of the list, and it's not Pokemon, in spite of the number of hours I've put into it, I think it's going to be Sayonara Wild Hearts. I've talked about it before, it's a pretty short game to do a single playthrough of, but it is basically an interactive music rhythm game set to a femme vocal pop album about coming out and becoming a woman that loves lots of ladies and kissing all of the women kissing all of the genres of women.
It's all about genres of women who are consenting.
Indeed, exactly, and it's visually and audibly beautiful, and it makes my heart very warm every time I go through it. And I need to go through it with you at some point because I'm like, it's only like an hour and a half long, and I want to show it to you.
Ramble.
If you are up for that,
I'd be up for that.
Yay!
I think I'm gonna have to go. Looking at what has released this year that I've played. I mean, I've probably played the most of Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Yeah.
But I think my game of the year would, just skimming through the list of what's been released that I've played, I think it's going to have to be Bloodstained.
Yeah.
That fun little spiritual successor to the Castlevania games.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I thought it was nicely made. I had a lot of fun with it. I played a lot of it. I would like to go back and play more, but like it was one that I only really have time at the moment to play video games if I'm streaming.
Yeah.
So it was one where I was like, I feel I need to just sit and play this on my own and focus on it, because I really struggle to play it well while talking.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we could always do so on a weekend if you want to return to it.
Maybe at some point.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get to a point probably fairly soon where I will be done with Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
At least my single player run through.
Yeah. It's always an interesting question to go, does most hours played equate to favourite game? I've put...
Sometimes that's just that there was more game.
Yeah, like, Pokemon I've put, like, a couple of 100 hours into, but, like, that's less actively playing engaged all the time and more sort of, my brain likes a nice repetitive loop, and it's a really good, calming thing. It's the video game equivalent of stimming. It's a nice sort of repetitive thing that keeps me chill.
Mm-hmm.
And like that has its place. And you know, I love Pokemon Sword and Shield. I don't think it's like the best game that came out this year,
No.
even if I personally put hundreds of hours into it and will continue playing it for the next several months.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I've played a lot of new games this year. Like, it's been a case of, like, revisiting older things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the few games I have played that were new this year, I played a decent amount of Control, I played a decent amount of.
Yeah.
But again, that was a game I just sort of drifted away from.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't having a super amount of fun with it.
Sometimes that's the way these things go. But,
It felt sort of more compelling to I wanted to know what was going on with the story, I wanted to see more of the architecture.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to play it, though.
A lot of this year, my games I've enjoyed most have been ones where big flashy visual things happen while I mash buttons and go, oh my god, what am I looking at? This is great. It's like, that's both Astral Chain and Devil May Cry 5 are just, I'm going to press all the buttons, look at the flash things happening, I'm so badass.
Spectacle fighters.
Yeah. You know, there's depth and complexity to learn, but, you know, also I want to, you know, swing a motorcycle around like it's a weapon and turn into some crows and all sorts of cool shit.
Yeah.
Summon swords. Well,
Ooh.
any game with summon swords wins in my book.
Yeah.
Put summon swords in every game. Just ghostly glowing swords that float around me and I will like your game a lot more. Animal Crossing, summon swords.
Yeah. Nice. What does that look like?
I don't know, but I want it.
Smashing the shit out of Tom Nook for some more bells.
Yeah, well, like, you know, it make chopping down trees easier. I'm not going to have low durability on my soul-bounded weapon.
I mean, fair. I love Didu Molinaro. Would like to ask, what is your favourite celestial body?
I really like the moon because it's far enough away to have like this real sort of mystique to it, while being close enough to be like, that is an achievable place that humans can get to. And even though I know realistically it's never going to happen, there's that bit of me that can go, I could end up on the moon one day. Like, it's not that far away. I could get there. It's that one step away where it's like, if I went to the moon and got really homesick, I feel like I could go home. Like, it's not like I'm trapped a million miles away from home. Yeah, what about you? Do you have a favourite celestial body?
Either the Horsehead Nebula or the Crab Nebula, I think. Yeah, I just think they're really pretty.
They're both very pretty, yeah.
Nebulae are probably
Indeed.
some of the prettiest bits.
Yeah. That and also for the moon, one of my all-time favourite games is an indie game called To the Moon, and there's a lovely little bit of narrative in there about the moon and the moon being used as a big example of like, well, it's called To the Moon, but because of the fact that like there's a character who basically just wants to befriend all of the celestial bodies, and the moon is the sort of centerpiece of like it's an analog for autism spectrum stuff. It's like, hey, they want to reach out, but they etc. Go play To the Moon and you will understand why I love the moon. It's a beautiful thing. Do you have any other questions?
Other questions? You want more questions?
I don't know, I'm asking if we've got them.
Larry Yellington would like to know, have I told you all that you're awesome recently?
Oh, heck.
You're awesome.
You're awesome, thank
You
you.
are also awesome, Larry.
Yeah.
Small baby, big feelings. Hi, Echo. We'd like to know, what's your favourite stuffy?
It's got to be Bun, who is the stuffed rabbit I have had since I was days old, if that. I have photos in a photo album of when Bun was bigger than me. Bun is very precious and precious.
So Bun is from babyhood.
From babyhood is
Babyhood.
from when I was smaller than the stuffed animal itself.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bigger than me once upon a time.
Mine is Huxley, who is
Yeah.
a werebear. I think the original werebear was called Growler,
Yeah, but
I mean, as funny as that name is, I never had one as a child, because it was one of those, no, that's horrifying, you're not allowed
Yeah.
those. Wasn't allowed My Little Ponies or Care Bears, and wasn't allowed werebears either. So, and I like like them because the thing about werebears is they look kind of terrifying,
Yeah.
but they're sort of soft and adorable. And I think
Yeah.
that's really cute. Like, you can flip them over to looking cute and adorable, but if anything, I think that makes them look creepier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Particularly because the fact mine has never been that way round, and now the face looks considerably cleaner than the rest of
yeah,
it.
no, if you turn that face inside out, it looks like it's a killer wearing a mask.
It's just wearing the face of my beloved teddy bear. And you can turn the paws over as well, so it doesn't have claws.
Yeah,
and
Hux is lovely.
Hux is lovely.
Because of the sort of like they once made noise box in the middle of them, they've got a really nice sturdy hug to them.
Although they've got quite sort of dense legs as well, because I think they were originally designed to stand up.
Yeah,
in a sort of
they've got a good solid density to them.
They do. I like Hux, and the Hux is named. I came home from the charity shop where I found them. And was just browsing through the bookshelf, and I found my housemate's copy of Brave New World. So that's why Huxley is called Huxley. And that is all the questions.
All the questions.
All the questions.
Well then.
Time for this.
Ooh.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah.
Alright, Harry. Alright, Barry. How you doing? Oh, I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad, are you? Oh, I'm alright. I'm alright. I've been, it's that time of year where I've been starting to make plans for what I'm doing during the festive period, you know. Yeah, well, you know, I believe the spirit of winter any day now is about to get solid kick in the knackers I
and
hope
start
so. I
fucking off.
hope so. But, I was having that thing that happens every year where, you know, you start thinking, who do I want to see at this time of year, and who am I gonna, you know, travel to see, or who's gonna come see me? And I had that situation happen where I was talking to someone about, you know, what my plans for the festive period were, and they were very shocked when I said that I wasn't going to see certain members of family over the festive period, and you know, I said to them, I just don't get on well with them, you know. Things aren't good with us. You know, maybe they are vehemently opposed to who I am, for example. Yeah. And their response was, yeah, but you've got to. They're family. I'm like, no, I don't.
No, I don't. No.
Yeah, so it got me thinking about the whole, you're under no obligation to build bridges with people just because they're biological relatives.
No, indeed. I mean, I think people have for years been very stuck in this, you know, old blood's thicker than water, and you know, you've got to stick by your family because they'll stick by you when no one else will, and frankly, that just allows for so much abuse. And
also, it's often not true. Like, there have been times when my family has not stuck by me, but my friends have.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? It's not like you can guarantee family will stand by you through everything, and if they're not standing by you now, there's no reason to go, oh, you got to mend that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the onus is very often in these cases put on the person who has suffered the most at the hands of that relative.
Yeah.
You know, they might have been abused verbally, physically, over the years, you know, and you can excuse it as, oh, well, you know, Uncle Bob likes a drink, or, oh, your mum's just like that. Well, you don't have to put up with being, you know, taking abuse or being spoken to in a certain way or being dismissed for what you are.
No amount of biological connection entitles someone to treat you badly and you to have to stick around.
Absolutely, and, you know, I think the more we get out of that headspace, you know, perhaps that will encourage people to just be better at each other.
Yeah.
You know, if you cannot, regardless of what your DNA says you are connected to me, if you cannot treat me with respect, you're going in the bin.
Exactly, and if you want to get back in my life, get better.
Yeah, get good, scrub.
Exactly.
You know,
the dark souls of relationships with other people.
Yeah, you know, be nice, be kind, be empathetic. You know, and if you have shitty opinions, maybe keep them to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, actually to yourself. Don't spew them on the internet thinking no one's going to see, because we do see.
Yeah.
And, it's still pretty shit, actually. You know, Auntie Joan. It's a time of year, as someone myself who was, you know, estranged from all but one member of my entire family, and she's not doing super well for herself. You know, it's a time of year when, regardless, I think about, them, and that does hurt. But at the same time, that is considerably less than what it would be if I was engaging with these people who just abused me on the reg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
should we have that?
Should we have that hug?
Please.
Oh.
A bit close to home this week, mate. Yeah. Good hug, mate, good hug. Should I pop the kettle on?
Yeah, have that cup of tea.
Yeah, well, and if I don't see you beforehand, have a good unicorn dance party.
Oh,
yeah.
same to you, same to you.
Yeah. Laura!
Me?
Where can we find you on the internet, darling?
Laura K. Buzz in all of the places. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. Patreon.com/Laura K. Buzz if you can afford to donate $1 a month or more. It means I get to keep doing this as my full-time job, which is super appreciated. Other than that, you can find everything that I publish at laurakbuzz.com. That is written articles, videos, podcasts, freelance work, everything goes up there. I've got some books. Uncomfortable Labels, it's about being gay and trans and on the autism spectrum. It is out now in places where books are sold, or as an audiobook at laurakbuzzstore.com. There's another book coming next year. It's called Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. It's a silly and serious illustrated coffee table book of video game character butt reviews. It's gonna be out in shops in October 2020. A bit sooner if you pre-order it on Unbound, hint hint. Other than that, I do some other podcasts. Pixel Squirt, I review video game pornography with Mari and Stacey from Geek Remix. Podquisition, we talk about video games and whether they're great or perfect, but also politics a bit. Dice Funk, it's a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. Each season is a self-contained story. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6. And Jane, what about you?
I'm Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube. That's JANEIAC, because somebody stole it without the E. Thanks. I am also on SoundCloud, Jane Eris Magnets. I'm on Patreon, that's the important one, Stoned Monkey Radio. Also Stoned Monkey Radio on Redbubble, if you want to buy a butt plug, soup, bath mat, or shower curtain, or stickers, or whatever. I'm also paypal.me/Jane Magnet if you fancy sending me a one-off of anything, which I would super appreciate, because the world is horrifying. It would be nice to have some sort of support for the coming nightmare.
Wouldn't it just?
It would. I made it bleak. I think that's all the really important ones. Twitch.tv/Janiac. You can watch me waffle about things and try and avoid hitting the bleak alarm. But those are the important ones. Laura, sing us out, my darling.
Until next time, be a stranger.
I will.